Good evening and welcome to Let's Talk Shop with Russ. Here tonight on Saturday night. Glad to have all y'all who are already out there in the chat. Luann Pierce, Dan Inge from Dan Inge Woodworking. Aussie Man's already out there. Robert Crow, Mobile Home Workshop. Ken McCrory. Let me go back up through here and see who else is in here. Just out of curiosity. Well, those people were already in there before the show ever even started, and we have already 15 thumbs up. So that's excellent. That's fantastic. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Tonight, we're going to talk about cordless tools. I was thinking about this the other day, and I know some people don't like cordless tools, and some people do. I love cordless tools. Now, back in the old days when we had them, they were a little bit different when they first came out, but they had the NiCad batteries, and I really didn't like the NiCads. But with the lithium-ion battery now that they have now, that thing it's changed a whole bunch of things. But that's what we're going to talk about tonight. Before we go any further, let me talk about my wonderful sponsors, and they are Devobel Technologies for web design, development, and hosting. Visit devobel.com. FastCap, innovative products for the professional woodworker. Go to fastcap.com. Rockler, 60 years in woodworking. Create with confidence. Visit rockler.com. Bearwood Supply Company, your best choice for hard-to-find woodworking supplies. Go to bearwood.com. Klingspor, the sanding specialist, woodworkingshop.com. Seiko, the scroll saw specialist, seiko.com, and Scrollnado, dust collection for your scroll saw. You can find them on Amazon. And don't forget, on Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on YouTube, they have the scrolling and making with Russ. And also, we'll have a little giveaway tonight before we end the show. If y'all will remind me who everybody's on the panel, because you know how I am. I'm liable to forget. So anyway, Michelle Marcoux is out there in the chat.
Carmichael's out there. You want me to send them the link?
Yeah, go ahead and send Steve the link. See if he wants to join us. So anyway, but yeah, that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And before we get started, actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, we have one more. We have room for one more. I was just counting to make sure.
Good, because I just sent it to him.
Yeah. Well, it wouldn't matter if we were full. It would just tell him he can't join. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so he'll be the 10th person. So that'll work perfect.
Did you send it out?
By the way, Mr. John, it is
Al, you sent it?
It is finished.
I did send it to him, Paul.
Okay.
I got to install the mechanism, the clock mechanism, naturally, and package it up and send it to you. I was just letting it sit a few days. I don't know who's making all the noise. Oh, it's John. He's trying to put his headset on.
Uh-oh. You're muted, John.
Yeah, we muted you because you were making so much noise trying to get your headset on.
Somebody muted you.
Yeah, I was wrapped up in my cords here.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, it looks great, Russ. Thank you.
Yeah, and I got to put the mechanism in it, and I wanted it to sit for a few days to cure up, you know.
Awesome.
So, but yep, it's ready to send to you. Put the mechanism in it, and it'll.
Muchas gracias.
You're welcome. I didn't forget this time. I have this stuck right here on my.
I would have reminded you again in November.
I have it stuck right here on my laptop. So every time we have a show, I have to look at it.
John, will we see that mounted on the wall directly behind you?
Probably won't be able to see it on the wall directly behind me.
Okay.
Anyway, and for those of you, if you pay attention, when I was buying clock mechanism for this, I've got a few more, and that one's actually working now, and it's got the correct time on it.
Ticking away.
So yeah, that one's actually working. So it hadn't been working for a while. The other clock, I dropped it, I think, and broke it, and I had just never fixed it. But while I was getting the clock mechanisms for John's, I bought about 5 or 6 of them at one time. So I have a few left over.
Cheaper by the dozen.
Yep, it's cheaper by the dozen. Okay, so anyway, so now we're let's start off going down the line. We'll start off with Paul.
Wow, starting off with me.
Yeah.
This really, I can't believe it. It only happens like twice a year.
Yep.
But I was ready. Paul Cordless, Paul's Messy Workshop on YouTube, on Instagram. And thanks for having me on, Russ. And I got all my battery powered stuff right here.
Cool.
And it's all stuff that I can show.
Cool. That's all stuff you can show. Okay. I'm glad you said that. Luana here said, hello, I have 2 Ryobi portable drill packs, both charged, one being charged all the time. Once I depleted, it's time to finish the day. I'll bet, yeah. Al.
Hi, folks. How are y'all doing? Welcome to the show. Al Forte, Odessa Woodworking and Maker Shop, Kilroy 79763. I'm here. I've got a couple of things too to show off that I can show off. And anyway, I guess when we get to it, we will get to it.
Cool.
Hope everyone's doing well.
And Katie's not she's not available at the moment, so we'll go to John Schaffner.
Good evening, everyone. John Schaffner here from Madison Woodsmith. You can find me on Facebook under my name. That's about it. I don't have any much to show off, but I do have a ton of questions for everybody.
Cool.
So,
that's what we need too. Questions are important.
Yes, they are. Back to you, my friend.
All right, Jim Bashirs.
Hi, Jim Bashir from Driveway Workshop. I pulled a ton of little battery-operated tools out of the garage here, so I've got plenty to talk with.
Cool.
And looking forward, this would be a pretty cool little topic. So
I think so. Yeah, it'd give us people, a lot of people have idea. I have a broad range of types as far as brands, so that I have been messing around through the years trying to figure out what if I think one's better than the other, and certain ones are, but we'll get into that. But yeah, so I think it's going to be pretty good. Dixon.
Hey Russ, thanks for having me here. I'm Dixon Hoffman from HoffmanSignsAndDecals.com. Once in a while I'm on Facebook, and I don't have any tools here, but my old Ryobis are downstairs.
Cool. Chris.
Hey guys, Chris here at the Old Cranky Workshop. We're back in the shop. Spring has finally sprung. It was a warm, comfortable day today in New England, but it's going to rain tomorrow, so we're back to cold and wet. So they don't want to give it to us all at once. So,
Cool.
You'll find me on Facebook and YouTube. There's a video coming out. I shot up a video today. So sit down and spend some editing time, probably during the rain tomorrow. That's about it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, not last but not least, I leave you with the wonderful and lovely Brenda.
Thank you for that warm welcome. I'm Brenda G. Brenda G's Designs. You find me all over the internet as Brenda G's Designs. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Twitch. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. Just about every place you look, just check for Brenda G's Designs and you'll find me. I'm the eclectic crafter and comedian. I don't have any tools that are battery powered anymore. They're too hard on the arthritis, so we said adios to those. But good for the rest of you that like them, because they need somebody to keep them in business.
Yes, they do. And there's sometimes when a cordless tool will not suffice, for instance. So we'll get into that, but sometimes you're better off with a corded tool. So anyway, for those of you who also wanting to know, I have, I think I told this last week, but I went to the doctor. They did tell me what the x-ray was, or did I tell y'all? Anyway, I have I have like 2 or 3 discs in my back that are degenerating, in other words, shrinking. They're not herniated or anything like that. And plus I have arthritis in my back and in my spine. So that's what's causing a lot of my pain and my problems, along with the fact that I pinched my sciatic nerve years ago. But they got me on these exercise routines, which I've been doing, and it seems to help some. They want you to in the exercise routine, they want me to do certain things to move certain ways that you probably typically wouldn't do in a normal day. But anyway, it's to keep you flexible, because obviously arthritis is one of those things that over a period of time, it's going to get worse. There is no cure for it. And so the longer and the more you can stay moving and flexible, the better off you are. So, but anyway, and for my sciatic nerve, one of the things that I found that's really helped me lately is a TENS device. I didn't know they had these out there. And so I purchased one, and I have it on my, everybody's going to start laughing, but I have it on my gluteus maximus at the time, because that's where it feels like somebody is taking a knife and standing there and just jabbing me in the butt. And it gets to the point that my leg goes numb. Actually, it starts hurting so bad. But I bought this the other day, and I was like, yeah, like this can really work. This thing works great. Not only that, I can turn it up so high it actually hurts. But anyway, so I've been using it, and it seems to have given me some relief. The other day I used it, and when I got up, it still kind of hurt, but not as bad. And then as I went around and started doing some few things, and after about 10 or 15 minutes, I went like, wow, the pain's gone. So that was amazing. So it's made a believer out of me. So I have the TENS device now. So that helps.
We had a lot of those on the farm. It's called electric fence.
Yeah. Yeah, and pee on one and see what happens. Yeah, that works good. So anyway, but yeah, so a lot of people have been asking. So yeah, my back's not going to get my back problems. He was telling me the other day, the doctor, and then also the person, the specialist, and then now I'm at a therapist, was telling me it's not going to get any better. You're going to have to learn to live with it. We're just going to try to keep it as pain, the least amount of pain we can give you. And they give me these muscle relaxers and these pain pills, but I don't like taking them. For number one, don't want to get hooked on them, and the second thing is say, for lack of a better way of phrasing it, they make you feel like ass. I mean, you take them, and I realize their job is to, slow you down and kill the pain so it don't hurt so much. But I just have this bad feeling, so I don't like taking them. Sometimes I have to. I can't get any relief. I have to. So, but anyway, but that's where that's going. So, well, let's get off that subject and get back on to cordless tools. As we were talking before, throughout the years, when they first come out with a lot of cordless tools, they were the NiCad batteries, and they work good, but NiCad batteries have a lot of problems. They don't have as much power as the new lithium does, and plus you have to really treat them with a kid glove. If you don't, they won't work correct. One of the problems I know with the old NiCads was if you didn't drain it completely down and recharge it. Let's say that you used it for 5 or 10 minutes and then charged it, and you used it for 5 or 10 minutes and charged it, it'll start getting a memory to the point that when you need it for 30 minutes, it's not going to work for 30 minutes. It's going to only work for that 5 or 10 minutes because you've been doing that charge and charge and charge, and that set up a memory in it. So that's one of the problems that they had. And then plus they just, I don't know, I don't think they were as good. They were better than the old alkali batteries. So come on, give me a break. But in the same aspect, they're nothing like the new lithium ions that we have now. So, or just lithium batteries that we have. Those are really great. But I started out with one of my first kits was, and a couple of the guys, I think Jim has one. He's going to show it off here in a little. Matter of fact, I'll go to Jim next. And when I get through talking about, my daughter bought me a Ryobi kit years ago when they were the blue ones. And I think they were 12 volt. And I love that kit. But when the batteries crapped out on it, they wanted like $100 a piece for the batteries. And I'm like, it came with a charger and 2 batteries in the kit. I'm like, I'm not paying no damn $100 for that. I would go buy for a long time, a lot of the stuff I would do is go buy a cheap Black & Decker cordless drill and use that. And when when it broke or the battery went bad, I just threw it away and bought another one. That was the best thing that I found. And what were the old ones? Oh yeah, I can't remember now. There was it wasn't a Tachi. They were blue, and the battery pack was real long in the handle. I've got one of them around here somewhere. I'm trying to think of the name of them. But they were a 3.8.
There's the Makita 9.6
Yeah.
volt.
Makita, yeah.
Yeah, okay. The Makita 3.6 volt. Yeah. Had the real long batteries in the handle.
Yep.
They lasted about 7 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah. Those were powerful though. And they weren't keyless chuck. That's another invention that made everything great, is the keyless chuck. But I've got one of them around here because I used to have one of them. But with the invention of they've changed a lot over the years. So, and they've gotten a lot better. And now, used to you can only get drills and certain things. Now they've got flashlights, they've got saws, they've got routers, they've got leaf blowers, they've got lawnmowers. You name it, everything is coming out with battery operated now. So. But that being said, I wanted to go especially to Jim because he has one of those old Ryobis that I had, and he's got one, and he's got. Hey, Jim.
Hey, yeah, I got that kit for Christmas a few years back, and it came in a box like this.
Yep,
so you got
that's exactly what mine came in.
Yeah, 14.4 volts, and you got.
Was it 14? I was thinking 12.
Yeah, no, it's 14. So you get the drill. And you get the flashlight.
Yep.
With
yep.
Hey, Jim, can you turn up your volume at all?
Yeah, turn up your volume.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hang on a minute. Let me look here. That's all I got right there.
Okay.
How's
that's
that?
good.
Okay.
That's better.
Yeah, so you got the drill and the flashlight attachment, but this thing was like the holy grail. I thought this was going to be the coolest thing in the world. I mean, when the case opened up, light came out of it, like you're opening up a tomb in Egypt. And I thought, oh my God, check this out. I've got a saw that I won't cut through the wires on. Because the last time I bought a new saw, the first time I used it, I cut right through the power cord with it. But anyway, unfortunately, the battery technology just wasn't there because, you cut through a sheet of 1/2-inch plywood with it, and it got about 2/3 of the way through the sheet. Time to change the battery, so you just
is that a 6-inch blade?
I think so.
Yeah, that's a 6-inch.
It looks nice and light, and even 6 inches is pretty good to cut through that.
Yeah, it's a 6.
Yeah, it's a 6.
But so it, now maybe we can play around with different types of batteries that have more juice to them, but it went back on the shelf and it's pretty much sat there for a long time. But in the meantime, I've gone through the whole thing. Like I've got a couple of DeWalt drivers and guns, and then I switched to Ryobi or rigid stuff, and this is pretty much all I use because I can take that battery and put it on sander, and I can put it on this guy, and
right.
And I think they're pretty good. I think I'm just gonna switch to them. I even took the base and got a 3D model for it, and I printed an adapter out so that I can use these batteries at work. So when I have to work on something remotely where we don't have power, I just slide that adapter on it, and then I can power up an ultrasonic transmitter or sensors and stuff like that with it. So it's kind of neat.
Now, I know compared to the old Ryobi, there is no comparison, but which do you think, or which do you like better out of the DeWalt or the rigid?
The rigid.
You like the rigid better?
I got big hands, and this thing fits in my hand really well compared to the DeWalt. See, the DeWalt, my knuckle, goes all the way up here, but here it's just on the end. So I like holding this one better. It's a tad heavier, but not a lot.
How about power wise?
This will last forever. I mean, I can go through and do a lot of stuff with that, and it, the batteries are still good on it. So
yeah.
So I kind of like the rigid stuff a little bit better.
Well, I kind of lean toward the rigid stuff myself. That or Milwaukee. Milwaukee.
Milwaukee's got good stuff too. Even the palm sander. This palm sander doesn't really it's easy on your hand and stuff, and it's nice and big, and your hand fits it really well.
Right. I
And
like
then
that.
the battery sits over here, so
Yeah.
And it probably lasted 20 or 25 minutes sanding with it on
Yeah.
one charge, so that's not too bad.
Yep. No, that's not bad at all. So yeah, that's pretty good.
It is. It is.
So who else has
I'll continue talking about the DeWalt if I may.
go ahead.
I when I originally got my DeWalts, I got this model, which is an 18 volt. I think there's an 18 volt XPR, and then there's one below that. I'm going to say below, but these batteries are pretty big. I liked it because I also got an impact driver,
Right.
a quarter-inch impact driver, and I liked it because it was small. And Jim, you've got big hands. I like the little stuff like this. It fits in my hands a little better. The only problem is these batteries, after about 2-3 years, they started to die. And I went to go look to see if I bought new batteries. And heck, 2 batteries were like, I don't remember the price, but they were almost as much as one of these, which is a 20 volt lithium battery. This thing I think's got brushless motor on it. I don't know about these. I think these are not brushless, so it adds to the weight. The brushless motors are a little lighter, but these batteries, I don't know if you can, you can hear the torque in it.
Yeah.
The more voltage you have, the more power you have, and these batteries are just tiny. Now, one thing I do have to say is when I had bought these, I went ahead and got this big sawzall.
Holy crap.
This thing is awesome. I take and I cut limbs with it, like after I cut a tree down, and make firewood with it and stuff. And you can get, and take pallets apart. I use the big old long blades like this, and it works great. I mean, it works great. For the smaller stuff, I bought a Black & Decker rechargeable little jigsaw.
Well, that's pretty. I've never seen one of those.
Well, it's again small. It's light. Excuse me. It's not for heavy duty stuff.
Yeah.
I worked on a dollhouse, and I put the wall up, and I had to cut, where the window was going to go. And this is great because it's so tiny and stuff.
Huh.
And it works good. I mean, it works really good. I have a bigger one for bigger jobs. One of my favorite battery items, though, if you look at this is one of those battery packs.
Yes.
You can plug a USB into it.
Yeah.
And it tells you what the charge is. And I figured this out the other day. I bought them for like a couple of bucks a piece. I've got 4 of them sitting over here. But this is what's neat about them. You press the button, and it tells you the charge. Okay.
Yep.
But if you press the button again, well, maybe it's a flashlight. Which makes it really cool. So I've always got a flashlight. I've always got power. And this one doesn't want to go. There it goes. Oh, I'm looking up there. It's got power. I mean, a flashlight, right? And a battery. But one more thing. So not the octopus. This right here. Wait, this isn't a tool, is it? Well, this is a tool. I bought me one of these at Wally World for under $10, and I'm able. I don't lose my sharpener. I've always got a sharpened point and stuff. There's a tool you might not think about.
Yep. I got one of those.
Yeah. That's
myself.
all I got.
Yeah, cool. Before we get any further is Katie, when we did our introductions, you had disappeared.
Yeah, I had beamed up.
You beamed up? Okay, you're back now?
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay.
And but since I had to make a pit stop anyway. Anyway, I'm Katie, and I just come here to bother people. And but tonight I do have something to brag about. There's this guy who acts like he's nice sometimes. He made me this,
Ooh.
and that's and that's my old man Handsome that I lost last month, and I wanted to brag about that.
Yep,
Cool.
that's cool. It looks good. I like it.
That's
I'm glad you like it.
and that's as nice as I'm getting about it.
Okay. Question: do you have any cordless tools though that you use?
I've got an older 18-volt Milwaukee drill and reciprocating saw that I bought used, and it serves me great. But I've also got a little Echo 58-volt chainsaw
Yes.
and their string trimmer, and they work great. The only thing about the chainsaw, do yourself a favor and just go ahead and get yourself an Oregon chain to put on it. It makes a difference for it. But one of my batteries just bailed out, and I thought, oh my God, I didn't send my card in. But by the serial number, they've got like a 5-year warranty on it for consumer.
Oh wow.
I mean, they're expensive. At 58 volts, those batteries are expensive. They didn't give me a hard time at all about sending me another battery.
That's good. Now this is Milwaukee?
No, this is a company called Echo.
Echo. Oh yeah. I've heard of Echo. Yeah.
And I love my little chainsaw.
Yeah. Echo sells a lot of yard type,
Yard type, they've got a little electric lawnmower.
Yep.
You know, if you've got a small yard, and
yeah.
But yeah, so far I've been pleased with those products, and but other than replacing the chain on the
replace the
chainsaw.
battery that quick for you. That's actually good. That's good.
Yeah, I was surprised because those batteries are real expensive.
Yeah.
And
I've got a question. If anybody knows, and I think somebody out in the chat was talking about or asked the question: do you keep your battery on the charger when you're not using it?
No. That's a no.
No, I don't either.
Yeah, I don't care if that. I mean, this is personally my thing. First off, I don't care even if they say that it's okay to leave on there. I don't like having, because usually at the end of the day, I come through, and if I have a battery, I have enough batteries, and I don't have to worry about charging it. I'll wait till tomorrow because I shut everything off. I've got it on power strips, and all the chargers go down at night. I don't leave them running. But from my understanding, especially with the lithium ion, that if you leave it charged, it hurts it more than it helps it. So you should.
The other thing, Russ, is you don't leave them in your devices either.
Yeah, you should.
That's where I messed up, because unlike the old batteries that you need to let them drain down to zero.
Yeah.
On these new batteries, if you let them drain down so far, the electronics in it won't recognize it, and it won't start charging.
I mean, I haven't talked to any manufacturer or anything, but from what I have read and understand, and then I read through a few of the books that came with the tools on a lot of them, and a lot of them on certain ones, like my Milwaukee said, do not leave it in the charger for extended periods of time. Once it's charged, you're supposed to take it out. So
yeah.
So that's from my understanding. Do we have any questions out there in the chat? If anybody's can be watching, the directions say okay. Yeah, if it says okay in the directions for your particular, like if it's a DeWalt or a Ryobi or whatever, then fine if that's what you want to do. Personally, I don't do it. I mean, I'm taking it out.
And by the way, they will discharge naturally if you keep them off the charger, like 15 to 20% in the first 24 hours.
Yeah.
And then 7 to 10% each day after that.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
Yeah. Well, I know, but if you're using them constantly, you don't have to worry about that. And
I would never leave the batteries on, like you were saying, Russ. But they do. One thing I like about the old Ryobi, they had this trickle charger.
Yes.
And you plug that in the battery and you let it on all the time, and it peaks it out.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would never let them on.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said,
now, if,
I understand that there's probably some of the manufacturers that say it's okay, and that's it. But with me, it's more of a preference. I just don't like leaving. I try to turn everything off in the shop when I leave out at night.
Yeah, and that's a great practice because anything that's on can mess up, but whatever the manufacturer says is the best practice.
Yeah, I agree. If it says in what your particular tool, if you read it and it says it's better, you're better off leaving it in the charger than leaving it out, then fine.
Yeah.
Go with whatever the damn manufacturer says. Don't do what I say.
Follow the manufacturer.
Yeah, don't listen to me. But mine is totally just a preference.
Right.
And
I'm a little skittish about fire.
yeah, that's what I worry about.
But if
anytime
you're
you
worried
have
about your batteries, not staying charged, if you want to put it'd be worth the money to me if I was in that situation to get a timer so that they would come on an hour a day and then go off or something like that.
Yeah,
So that
the new polymer battery chargers have smart technology in where you can actually leave them in, but them older NiCads,
Right.
if you leave them in and even put a timer on it, that transformer in that plug will draw from the battery when it's off.
Yes, and that's another thing too that I don't leave the unit in. If you're unplugging the charger, you don't leave the battery in there for sure because it can actually feed back into the charger and drain your battery down that way. So, but the biggest thing is, Aussie Man was so you can or can't leave the battery in the tool. Go by whatever your manufacturer directions say. That's what I would rely on. When you buy the tool, open that manual up and read it. And if it says you can leave it in the charger 24 hours a day, or you can leave it in the tool, do whatever they say. Because each manufacturer may be a little bit different.
The DeWalt chargers do have a maintenance mode on them in the charger.
In the charger?
Yeah.
Yes, they'll reach a specific voltage, and that triac will switch, and then it'll go into a trickle charge, which they call it maintenance charge.
They've been having with lithium batteries. I mean, we've been having phones explode. We've been having those, what do you call those little stupid little things people ride?
Hoverboards.
Yeah, the hoverboards.
The people in the vape community have had batteries exploding and had some real problems.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. With all that crap going on, I'm not leaving mine in the charger overnight.
Right.
But DeWalt's are nickel cadmium,
nickel cadmium.
3 days they'll lose their charge.
Yeah, that's the neat thing about the new polymer batteries. There's no memory in them. If you buy a new polymer battery and you figure out the milliamps, if you're going to get 500 charges out of that, you'll get it's usually over 1,000, but if you get 500 charges, you'll get a full 500 charges. Now, if you charge it only halfway, you can charge it twice as much. You know what I mean? You're only going to get there's no memory. If you're only going to get the maximum charges like 500 times or whatever it's rated at, and then it'll be done.
When I bought this is an old rigid 12-volt drill, and when I mean old, I've had this thing for like 15 years. And I love it. It's one of my favorite tools. But I'm on my third set of batteries, and I get them for free from because I register the tool and I register the batteries every time I get them. But I know on this battery here, and I'd have to get my glasses, but I'm pretty sure this is a lithium. I'll have to get my glasses and see. But on this particular battery here, it's a lithium because it states that when they ship them, they're at a very low voltage because they don't want to ship them under high power for concerns of being under high power. And it says when you get them, do not use them. Immediately put them in the charger and charge them until the charger says full. Because I just got these batteries and I read that thing. And then it says also that you need to use the tool and run the battery dead, in other words, that for that first time, and then recharge it. and it stated that in this rigid battery pack that I just got.
Yeah.
So in other words, when you get it, it's got enough charge in it to keep it alive, so it'll be okay until you get it. You're supposed to fully charge it. You're supposed to use it and drain it down and then charge it again. And then it says everything will be fine. So I do know that. These are brand new 12-volt batteries I just got. And I did read about them because I tried. I really try to read a lot of my manufacturers' directions and stuff, especially when it comes to like batteries and stuff. Because I'm used to the old NiCad, and that was a totally different situation. We had our walkie-talkies in the fire department were all NiCad, and our flashlights were all NiCad. And we had to make sure that we kept them drained. We used them, we drained them down. And before we charged them, because of that memory thing. But lithium don't have the memory problem that the old NiCad used to have. So,
and by the way, one other thing, according to DeWalt, in these high amperage, high drains, the memory doesn't really kick in as much in the high drain ones.
Yeah.
Usually the phones, the low drain laptops, that's where the memory problem develops in there. But I posted out in the outside chat the URL to the DeWalt information that I'm talking about. If anybody wants to look at it.
If and let me go back to this also. If a lot of people don't hang on to their manual and don't really realize or know. I understand that. I have every manual. I got drawers with manuals of everything I own. I keep them. But here's a second thought. If you go to most of the manufacturers' websites and go to the either troubleshooting or service or whatever, but anyway, most of the manufacturers' websites have a place, a service or support. That's what I'm looking for. Service or support or something like that. Most of the manufacturers' websites have a PDF form of their manual that you can download. So that's another suggestion. You lose your manual, you don't know what to do with the battery, go to the manufacturer's website and check there. I know, and also I'll tell you another place, e-replacement parts is real good about having manuals on a lot of machines. So that's another thing. Go to e-replacement parts and read up on your tool or whatever. Download the PDF and put it on your computer and have it.
One thing that's really neat about the polymer lithium, the polymer batteries too, is you cannot discharge them and get reverse polarity like you can the NiCads.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, there's many people that throw them packs away. I'm not going to tell you how, but there's a way to get that when it drains too far, it'll reverse polarity. There's a way to jumper it and get it back to where it's actually good. But it's a little dangerous doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to short it.
You got to short it. You got to short it with. Actually, I saw one guy on YouTube one time. He was putting like 120 volts to the battery, AC current.
You got to do it very quick, and it's a little touchy.
I was like, what? Man, I was afraid that thing would blow up and splatter, acid or whatever's inside of it all over the place.
Sure, that pack got drained down so far that it'll reverse polarity, and then it's junk until you jumper it back to the other, switch to positive and negative, and it'll actually jump back.
Cool. And who else had tools that they wanted to show? Paul. We had somebody, low life just snuck in here.
Yeah. Well, Al and I both invited him, so you can blame us.
Y'all invited him?
Yeah.
Dang, I turned my back for 5 seconds and leave the door open and look
I have nothing to do with it.
Before we go to you, Paul, just real quick before we go to you, let me go over and let him introduce himself. Hey, Steve.
Hey, Russ.
How you doing?
See you later. I've done been thrown out. Your S05 workshop. Thanks for letting me on, guys.
You're welcome. All right, Paul, go ahead.
That was the first one I started out with. This thing has got to be 20 years old.
Is that an old Black & Decker?
It's an old Black & Decker Quantum.
Yes. Wow.
And,
a monster.
And it weighs a ton. It's a heavy drill.
Yes.
And it's been through a lot, and the only thing it needs is a new battery.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's the kind of thing where the battery costs as much as a cheap new drill.
Yeah.
But luckily, I bought a Black & Decker Firestorm, dirt cheap, uses the same battery.
Oh, nice.
Hooray.
They came a long way with their technology. In fact, that old one you had, that's one of the first companies that came out with a 14 volt.
Yeah, it's 14.4 volt battery.
Yes.
And I've run into the same problem with this one now, is that the batteries are shot. And again, the battery is expensive.
Right.
Then one day I was driving down the road and I found this alongside the road. And so I immediately stopped the car, and my wife says, "You're not going to pick that up, are you?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "But what if the person comes back for it?" I said, "The person, by the time they realize it's gone and I don't pick it up, somebody else is gone."
Yep.
So then I had to order a charger for it. The charger cost as much as if I'd have just gone out and bought a cheap drill.
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, when I bought my 14.4 drill, I got one of the most useless things that they ever created is a flashlight. That I don't even know why I keep it.
But a flashlight on a battery pack is a
It's
cool
a good idea. That's a stick this in your pocket.
Yeah.
Well, Al,
You
this
know.
is a flashlight on a battery pack.
Yeah.
But like everybody else, I went from that to rigid. And I love rigid tools.
Yeah.
They're great. I agree with everybody that you can't go wrong. You register them, you're set for life.
Yep.
That would be a deal breaker for me if I never knew you could register a tool like that and then get free batteries.
Yeah, and you can do it as soon as I get it. As soon as I get a rigid tool, and I've got quite a few now, is I go online. As soon as I get home, I register it, and I'm set no matter what.
Yep.
I wish DeWalt did that.
That's
Probably
a deal breaker.
Probably the second most useless tool I've ever bought is this. This is a little Black & Decker. It's a lithium ion, but it doesn't have the power to do anything. I don't know what it was ever meant for, but it looks neat, and it looks good on my workbench.
It's Black & Decker?
Yeah, Black & Decker.
So like this, that's weird, Paul. That looks almost the same as this, and this thing, man, this thing cuts. This is the battery doesn't come out of this, and I don't know how many volts it is.
Yes, but see, that's a lithium ion, and Al's is a lithium polymer. That's 100%. That's different. That's 100% different.
7 volts DC.
This is the 3 volt.
That you have in your hand, Paul, was designed for a homeowner to like take the screws off the light plate or something really, really small and gentle, because you're right. That thing has absolutely no power.
And it would be good for that, and that's about it.
Yeah.
And by the way, the voltage, the higher the voltage on the battery means that you have more power, because power is equal to current times the voltage. If you pull the same current, but you have higher voltage, you're going to get more power.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, while we're talking about battery powered tools, like Al was saying, there's a couple that they're not really tools, but one, I never thought I would use it that much, but since I've been into 3D printing, this is one of the handiest tools
I didn't even get that out.
I have ever bought. I bet you I use this thing every time I do any 3D printing or design.
Yeah.
I love this tool. And it's a Harbor Freight.
Yes.
And it works. It works fantastic.
It works good, and if it breaks, you go throw it away and buy a new one.
Yeah,
for another $10, they have the ones that they say the fractions on them too.
Yes,
this one does
fractions.
Yeah. Yep. And then the other neat thing I got that I bought it kind of on a whim, and I use it a lot, is this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh
The
yeah.
Wixie angle thing.
Yes.
I use the heck out of that thing. But
Angle finder.
this is one of the early models. And if you don't take the battery out of it, it drains the battery.
Yeah.
Even though it's got an off switch on it, there must be some kind of circuit in there that drains. And if you're not going to use it for a while, you have to take the battery out of it. But other than that, I do have one of those saws that came in the kit when I bought my Black & Decker Quantum. And I've used it a few times, and when the batteries are good, it's a respectable saw. But that's all I got.
Well, that's like I said, those little things. I've got one of those my daughter gave me. Mine is like about this long, and it's about that big around, and it's got the battery. You keep it plugged in, and you can change the tips. That thing is about the most worthless piece. I hope my daughter's not listening. But, I mean, if you want to take the light switch plate off and change it, or if you want to take it won't pull screws out of a piece of wood. You can forget that. It's got to be something like maybe take the back off of a small appliance.
Yeah.
You know how they have nowadays all the battery packs and the kids' toys have that stupid screw in it, so you can't. Well, it'll take that screw out for you. Yeah, it'll do things like that. Yeah. But they're not really any.
Paul, does that angle finder you have? Does that have a mini USB port on it anywhere?
No, it does not.
Because the firmware inside of that is what's draining the battery, and if you could update that, then it would go away. But that's a newer, older model, probably.
Yeah, this is when they first come out.
Yes,
it was kind of think, why that looks kind of neat, and I bought it, and I was amazed how much I use it.
Sure.
Yeah. And you're right. Mine has went dead, and finally, I was smart enough now that I take the batteries out of the darn thing when I'm not using it, because it'll go dead. I mean, it'll drain the batteries down pretty quick.
Yeah, it will. A couple days and they're dead.
Yeah. I will agree with Paul that the digital calipers are the berries now.
They're fantastic.
I got a set of them. I don't have 3D printer, but I do have the digital calipers, and they do come in handy.
Yes.
Yeah.
They are
stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, I've got mine, and I'll tell you what I do on mine now. On the calipers, I take the batteries out of that too.
Do you?
Yep, I take the batteries out of that. Matter of fact, I've got it there in this drawer behind this thing right here, and it's sitting in there, and I take the batteries. I bought a caliper, but mine's a regular machinist type caliper that's not a digital, and
that's why I bought this, because I didn't want to have to figure one of them out.
Yeah, well,
I didn't want to have to deal with thousands and 10,000s, and
I know
which is bigger, 100 to 1,000. This takes all the thinking out of it.
Yeah, I understand. Okay, so Chris.
Yeah, I'll go.
You got some tools?
Yep, but I want to say, Paul, I got the same one.
Yep.
And it always seems to disagree with my table saw on the angle, until I realized the table saw was not level. So I spent one afternoon trying to figure out why I couldn't get this and the table saw to say the same thing.
Yeah.
The table saw wasn't level. So
yeah,
this
but
was
you're supposed to set it on the table and zero it and then put it on the plate.
You're right.
Yeah, I know that now.
Doesn't matter.
I know that now.
Yeah. They don't tell you that. They don't tell you that in the instructions.
No, they are. There's instructions? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Anyways, I went down the same road with Ryobi. I had the big blue pack, the drill. Thought it was a tough little drill. I dropped that off of 2 stories and it landed smack on the cement, and it still worked. Wow. So the casing didn't get broken. It was a great drill. Matter of fact, I keep it in my truck now because I do roadside finds. I'll strip off hinges and draw pulls and stuff like that. So I keep the old one in the truck just for that purpose alone. But since then, I went to the green machines. So I got the cordless drills. And what I've also started doing is getting, pull the first one out, they're nail guns.
Yes.
And so you can get a light on it and see. This goes takes brads from 5/8 to 2 inches. And behind me over here is the pin nailer. Both of them, I love them. And one thing I love about them most is being in my shop on my crutches, the last thing I need is cords dragging around the floor. I've sent myself to the deck more times than I care to count over extension cords or tool cords. So I try to keep what little floor space I have clear of everything.
Can I interrupt to
Yeah.
do a confession, a shop confession, Chris?
What?
Paul, you'll like this. This is because I had cables running on the ground, and the sander flew up as I pulled it. By the way, so
And you should have told Russ about that at the beginning of the show.
well,
The other thing I picked up recently from them, Ryobi, is the jigsaw. This is a tough little saw. I've been using this constantly. I didn't expect to get a lot of life or use out of it, but it's so much easier than the Black & Decker I have, which I've been known to use the Black & Decker like a mini Sawzall. But this thing has been tough. I really, really am happy I got it. So I can highly recommend Ryobi right now. They're on a tear. They're doing some good work.
Yeah, they are.
Also found online, it's back there. I'm not going to pull it apart. The multi-pack to charge your batteries. It holds 6 batteries at a time. I think we paid like 78 bucks for it, but it's genius. I never have a dead battery anymore. It's great. So
How many batteries do you have though in your shop, Chris?
I have 8 altogether.
8? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
Okay,
like
so
the house
some
payment,
tools-
man.
Yeah, some tools moved along, or I loaned it out and never got it back, or whatever. And, but the battery was still here. So and it's a mixed bag of the lithium and then what are the orange ones? The what is it?
Rigid.
NiCad? So, but it takes them all. So, and I also have my share of the DeWalt drills too.
Yep.
And cordless tools. So got this one, I got the bigger one, and I like the fact they have a light. That is ingenious to me. So,
I know.
I mean, I'm always trying to work in a tight spot where I can't see what I'm doing, but that light makes all the difference. So
Somebody said the other day that
Yeah.
they didn't like, that was the most stupidest thing you ever seen, is a light on a cordless drill. And I'm thinking to myself, are you crazy?
That is the best invention.
The handiest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
You're so young and have good eyes.
yes.
Yes.
But yeah, I like Ryobi and I like DeWalt right now. I'm like, it's an even split on what I've got for tools on both departments, but Ryobi's ahead because they're affordable and they always seem to be on sale. Whenever I'm looking on Amazon, there's always a sale someplace. So,
Yeah, Home Depot runs sales quite frequently on some of the Ryobi stuff.
yeah, but that's usually the kits. One of the tools is the silly flashlight,
Yeah.
or the radio. Who really wants a Ryobi radio? Come on.
Yeah.
That's for the young contractors. That's who get them.
Yeah.
Big
No, you got
radios,
the earbuds in anyways.
big
So,
boom box.
Yeah.
You have you shot? What's the largest nail that you or Brad you shot out of that?
the 2 inches,
2 inches, and what did you shoot it into?
2x4.
And it went right in without any problem.
Yeah, no problem at all.
Yeah.
So, and the wire, the pin nailer, I love that because it goes in just far enough where the fibers of the wood close in over it, so you wouldn't even know you put a nail there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So again, it's a great little tool.
I haven't got the pin nailer, but I've been thinking about getting it. I have a pneumatic pin nailer, and I love that sucker. It's a Harbor Freight, and you're right. It's like a piece of wire, and it's so tiny and thin that you can't even tell it's in there.
And loading them is a piece of cake.
Yes.
Them work great for when you're gluing together and you want that pin nail to hold it in place until the glue dries.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Works
it's hard to
awesome.
show, but they're so thin.
Yeah.
So I love them. So, and my family and in-laws are used to just giving me gift cards now, so I no longer get the box kit.
I've been telling my kids for years, cash or gift cards. That's all I want.
That is.
Yep. I buy my own tools,
And if my father-in-law is watching this show, thanks for the gift cards.
Yep.
You were talking about that radio a minute ago. I bet 90% of the woodworkers that have those radios in their shop, their wife got it for them for Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I've already told my wife and family, don't ever look at that thing. So,
Yeah.
I've got my satellite radio up here.
The greatest invention for me for music is my Bluetooth
Yeah.
speaker.
Yes.
I hook it to my phone, and I have Apple Music, and I can either listen to like country music. They got country music radio station. It's not really a radio station, but
Yeah.
that plays nothing but country music, no interruptions, no commercials or whatever. Or you can just
my satellite radio unit out here, but I find myself using my phone and streaming specific online stations now because there's no commercials.
Yeah.
I'm even thinking about getting rid of my my Sirius. So Sirius, if you're listening to this broadcast, you're gonna cut me a better deal. It's coming back.
Yeah,
So,
they called me today and they said, "Would you like to? We noticed that you canceled your subscription. Would you like to renew?" And I said, "You've gotten to be a luxury that I can't afford. You just keep raising your prices." And they said, "Well, we'll give you 3 months for like $15." I said, "Yeah, and what happens after the 3 months?" And they said, "Well, it goes up." I said, "It's too expensive."
Right.
And,
Guys,
Not to get off topic, but you know why Series is on all new automobiles?
yeah.
Because they can shut them down whenever they want.
Yeah.
Even if it's not activated, it's on all new vehicles for that reason, for the government.
Yep. So, well, I'm not worried about it. I've got it in my truck, and I probably use it 3 times a week in a commute. That's about it. And I only listen to the old school radio shows. That's about it.
Yeah.
So, and even that, so I'm thinking about getting rid of the truck one too, because my phone, I have the account on my phone, so I can stream it through there.
Yep.
Yep. Exactly.
Brenda, did you have any more tools you want to show off?
Well, I don't know. I've got all kinds of stuff at my fingertips here. I like this AccuMaster. Does anybody have the AccuMaster? That does
Wixie?
It's the same thing as the other, yeah.
You know, I
Mine
like
is
that.
a Johnson something or other.
Yeah, that's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else do I have over here?
I like how it magnetizes.
Yes.
Yeah, the Wixie's got that magnet on there too, and
I'm surprised. I'm surprised how many people actually have one of these.
These ain't battery powered. Most of my stuff is not battery powered, but I've got my chisel sets and my gouges and
they're cordless, aren't they?
They're still cordless.
And
they're cordless.
There you go.
They ain't battery powered, but they get the job done.
Yep, that's for sure.
I got a battery close by.
Yeah. Did we miss anybody? Dixon, did you have? I mean, but did you have anything you wanted to show off?
9-volt batteries for your smoke detectors because they're up to $10. So I bought the charger like this and a pack of 9-volt batteries from Amazon, and they work really well.
You know, your smoke detectors are only good for 10 years. And
yeah,
you can buy a smoke detector with a 10-year battery in it.
Yeah. Well, that's just the stipulation. You can actually use them smoke detectors. They have to put that on there to cover their butt. That's why.
Let me tell you, if it says 10 years, in my house, they're gone in 10 years.
Yeah.
I don't take chances when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah.
These neat power packs. Al had one, and this one has the little LED sticks. So you put the LED stick in them.
I've got one of those.
And you touch them like that, and they get brighter and brighter, and they get really bright.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they work pretty cool for that. And if you got to charge your phone.
Yeah.
We were talking about Ryobi. Years ago when I got my Ryobi set, the only thing I was disappointed in was their vacuum cleaner. Otherwise, all the other tools worked really well, but I did not stick their new batteries in this yet and try it. I'm sure it would work a lot better if I had the new battery, the polymer batteries, the lithium polymers.
Yep.
And one good tool, like Russ was saying, is your Bluetooth.
Yeah, I love my Bluetooth.
You can listen to your favorite podcasts if you miss any of them.
That's one of my favorite things, my Bluetooth speaker.
Yes. All my other specialty tools, I don't have them here. Ever since we got laser sets down at work, I don't know what them little yellow things are and them little green things are that you pull out, that metal thing, and they got numbers on. I don't know what them are.
Yeah.
And the app on my phone, on your iPhone, your measuring app, I tried it and it works, and it works great. Mine was within a 1/16 of an inch all the time.
Wow.
You aim it at a corner of a building and you shoot the other side, you bring it along, and it was within a 1/16 of an inch.
That's pretty good.
At what distance?
Down at work, I was going 30 feet. It was amazing.
good.
I'd have to find it again, which app that was. But
So does it use the rangefinder for the camera?
it uses the camera. Yeah, there's an app. It uses the camera, and you got to aim it at a corner. It's got like a bullseye, and then it activates, and then you take it and you scan it, not real fast across to the other side of what you're measuring. And I was amazed on how accurate it is. But now they have the thermal camera adapters you can put in your iPhone, and them things are, if you buy the $400 ones, it's amazing how these gadgets they're really going to hurt these other companies that did all this research for years. Them thermal cameras, they used to be $20,000-$30,000, and you can get the same results with a $500 adapter for your iPhone.
Yeah, I got this for like $10, and it works pretty good. Goes
Yep. Them things work great.
Hey,
All
Russ,
right.
Luann was asking how those angle sensors work.
I was gonna let me go to Steve first, and then
okay.
we're gonna. Al showed one, and he has one that's working in his hand. So I'm gonna go to Al and let Al tell everybody how it works, because Luann I did read that. Steve, you got anything you want to throw out there?
Of course, I got in here late, so I didn't bring anything with me. But I use the DeWalt and the Ryobi, similar to what you guys. I really like the 20-volt DeWalt tools. I can probably charge my hand drill twice a month, at the most, and it hangs in there pretty good. And I take my battery powered circular saw to the wood shop with me, and I cut down boards in the parking lot. So I can go through, probably 100 board foot of wood with that circular saw before the battery starts to crap out. So
Is that a 20-volt saw?
Yeah. Now, when I had their 18 volt? Is that the next one down?
Yeah.
When I had the 18 volt, I didn't have near as good a luck with the DeWalt, but the 20 volt I've had a lot better luck with.
Yeah.
And then that little Ryobi that you showed, Paul, I've got one of those, and that thing's an excellent drill for its price. It works really well.
Yeah.
And if you've got drills, you need two drills. I don't care what type of woodworking you got. You got to have two of them. You got your screwdriver in one, your drill bit in another. And I keep my screwdriver in that Ryobi drill because it's plenty powerful enough for that.
Yeah. Cool. Before I got mine to show off, but before we do that, Luann was asking about the angle gauge. So, Al, you want to give everybody the lowdown on it and how it works?
So on the angle gauge, let's say that's the blade on your saw, and you want to cut. I'm gonna just go this way. I might have to go the other way. You want to cut 45 degrees. So you take the tester or whatever you want to call it. You put it on the blade, and then you crank. And I can't see what I'm doing, so you crank. You crank the angle of it, and can't see it too well, but. So as you crank it, is it just that it's too bright in here, or what?
We can see it.
We can see it
or something.
Yeah, it'll go to to whatever the angle is that.
Hey, Al, you missed one step though. You've got to put it on your table first to zero it. Everybody.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
I know that now.
Yeah. Let's see if it's zeroed. And actually, it's like a degree off. So put it on your table, then press the zero button. And it doesn't zero, does it? Let's put it on the table and zero it.
It's probably sensing you moving.
Yes.
But yeah, that's all it does is it's a way it's magnetic. It sticks to the steel and it tells the angle of whatever.
It's now zero.
Yeah.
So as it turns,
Yep.
Then it changes, like that should be what, 45 or something like that.
Hey, that's pretty close. Well, 56. You were close.
58, 57, 56.
But anyway, yeah, that's
Do hair 40. Do hair 40, 45, 44.
and if I flip it this way,
You can read it.
it still reads the same thing. Yeah. But the point is that it does. So they're really easy. They're really easy.
Yep. And when they first came out, they were expensive, but they've gotten now where they're fairly cheap now.
Yeah.
I got this one for $30 at the big blue box store.
Yeah. Well, Harbor Freight sells them, and I have the Wixie or whatever, and I bought one from the Harbor Freight, and the Harbor Freight works just as good as the other one.
Yeah, I think it was like $7, $8, $10, something like that.
Yeah, and I have used it, and I've compared it. I put them both on something and moved it, and they both said the same angle. And actually, the Harbor Freight battery don't go as dead as quick as the Wixie.
Hey Russ, I got a question for you. Do you use the one on your Seiko?
Have I? I
you?
used it one time when I first was doing the bowls to show everybody how to do a bowl, and that's the only time I've used it.
I'm kind of like that too. It's too slow. It reacts too slow.
Yeah, it reacts too slow. Yeah. But I was showing everybody how to make a bowl on a scroll saw in one of the shows, scrolling with Russ, and I used it just to see what the angle was going to be. And other than that, yeah, you're right. It's sitting up there off.
Yeah, the first time you see it, you think, "Oh, this is a neat idea," and then you never use it.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's not that it moves too slow. Maybe it's just that you're going too fast. You need to slow down.
Me and too fast don't go together.
You gotta slow down.
That's right.
You're moving too fast. You gotta slow down. All right. So so it's just a way of a digital way of reading the angle on something. And what makes it nice for the table saw is that it's so, I don't know of any table saw, even most expensive ones are kind of a pain to actually see how you've got it on. I know I love my rigid table saw, but I don't depend on the gauge on the saw to tell me if it's at a 45 or not, because it's just, I see it as unreliable. So I make sure I check it if I need a 45. So
mine is actually pretty good on the Porter cable. It's just, like I said, the floor was uneven. So
yeah.
I think Jim wants to explain how the guts on this thing work. So go ahead, Jim.
Oh,
yeah, Jim.
Well, the company I work for, we make sensors, industrial sensors. This is
Turn your volume up, Jim.
Turn your volume up. There you go. There you go.
Is that better?
Yeah, there we go.
Boy, this thing is really flaking out. So the company I work for, we make industrial sensors. We're like one of the top 1 or 2 companies that do that. So this one is something you'd find on like a fire truck or a crane. So if the crane extends a boom out, you want to know what angle it's at so it doesn't go out too far and the crane falls over, that kind of stuff. So there's little sensors built inside of these things. This one has 2 axes on it, so it'll do X and Y, or you can get them to just do X, whatever. But there's a chip inside these things called a MEMS chip. It's a MEMS, and it's basically a chip that's got a cutout of metal. So you'd have something like this, and then inside it there's a cross, and the chip that cross is suspended on that frame by a couple of things called strain gauges. And strain gauges are a piece of material that if you stress it, it'll generate a voltage.
Yeah, we use those.
Russ is looking at me like, what the heck are you doing?
Yeah, really.
So as the magnetic force, hanging out just in space pulls on the 2 arms on the cross, it stresses the strain gauges out and it tells you what angle you're at. I'm done, Russ. I'm sorry.
They do that because it's very, very sensitive. They work very well.
Extremely. And then there's another type that has, like, if you take a comb, like you're going to comb your hair with, and then stick another comb in it like this. This is a capacitive one. And as those 2 combs go back and forth between each other, it picks up. I got Russ locked in here. He's cracking me up.
Hey, Jim, the ones that we use on load cells, and it works on the principle of a Wheatstone bridge.
Yeah.
And And when the metal
yeah.
presses, it changes the resistance, and there's a calculation.
Yeah.
And
Wheats, not Wheaties. I eat Wheaties every once in a while for breakfast.
Yeah,
Wheat stone.
Oh, Wheatstone. Oh, okay.
Wheatstone Bridge.
Yeah, Wheatstone Bridge you want to use with strain
Not the
gauges.
same thing. Then.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, I'm done. I'm done. Sorry,
All
guys.
right. So, well, first one I want to show off is you couldn't pry this out of my cold dead hands, and Chris Ahern is the one that turned me onto this.
Oh, that's
I bought
sweet.
one of these too. This this is the Brad nailer like he's got, and yeah, this thing is just the Mac Daddy. I mean,
I bet it is.
by the time I go over and I don't keep my compressor on all the time. So I'd have to go turn it on, wait for it to air up. Then I'd have to get the air hose, and I'd have to get the Brad nailer out, and everything else. Hell, this thing. And I was a little apprehensive when to buy one of these. I'd seen them, but then Chris Ahern bought his, and he used it. And we were talking. I said, "Do you really like that thing?" And he's like, "Oh man, I love it." And so I decided to pull the trigger and go get it. And
How much does that thing weigh?
it's pretty heavy.
Yeah.
It actually is pretty heavy. You wouldn't, if you have arthritis in your hands, you ain't gonna be using this thing. Yeah.
No, I don't look like fun to me.
No, but the thing about it is I've tried it. I put a 2-inch nail, and I have some really old, hard oak. I mean, really tough. I mean, it's tough to cut with a brand new saw blade.
Yeah.
And I was curious to see, and this drove those nails in, 2-inch nails in that old oak without any problem whatsoever.
They're asking what brand it is, Russ.
This is a Ryobi.
The question is, how far can it shoot?
Oh
I
my
don't know how far, but this is the Ryobi Airstrike. And like I said, I was apprehensive at first because I just didn't think they would work. Now, I'm not sure how this works other than if in your conventional pneumatic tool, there is a huge spring in here. And what happens is the air compresses that spring. And then when you pull the trigger, it releases the air, and which fires the spring forward. The only thing that I can figure in this is they've got a motor in here that's actually bringing the spring back to a certain position, and then it clicks, because you can hear it. It goes, and then it'll fire. It's bringing the spring back, and when it gets to a certain position, it clicks and flings it forward. But
pick it apart real quick and let's find out.
yeah.
It'd be like an AVE
I
video.
really like this. This is impressive. I'm going to go get the Brad or the pin nailer too, because this thing has got me sold.
Do you have to wait long between the nails?
Do what?
Do you have to wait long between the nails?
No. I mean, it's just about as fast as you can pull the trigger.
Didn't you guys say a while ago that it has a rapid fire on it?
Yes, I thought I had never seen that. I was sitting here looking at it, was on the floor, and I looked down and talking about reading manuals. Well, that tells you how good I read this manual. There's a switch right here, and I was like, "Where the hell is that? I've never seen that switch before." So I looked at it, was like, I don't have my glasses on, so I said, "Chris, what's that switch for?" Guess who else don't read the manual? Chris, because he didn't know what it was for.
Nope.
Hey,
So Chris finally looked at it, and it's rapid fire. It would. I've got. Well, hell, I'll shoot it into this.
I got a better idea. Let's get Chris and Russ together, and you guys can shoot.
There you go.
Worth of each.
Oh, that's definitely a motor.
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
Yeah. You got a motor in there.
Let's see if I hold this down and. Oh yeah.
It's pretty quick.
Yeah, it is.
And the tip's got to be compressed for it to fire too. So it does have that
That's the safety
safety.
mechanism part of it. Is the tip
Yeah.
has to be compressed in order.
Can you bump nail that?
Bump nail.
That's what the rapid fire is. Yes, you can bump.
You
nail.
know,
They have
like,
bump nail. Never mind.
like with an arrow, when you can bump nail.
battery out of it because I don't want to shoot my stupid finger.
There you go.
That's what that rapid switch is for.
But
Pump nailing.
This actually is two things. This sets the depth, which you can set the nail depth if you want the nail sticking out or want it concealed. You adjust this, but this has to be pushed back. If you pull the trigger out like this right here, it won't fire. This has to be pushed back, and then you pull the trigger. This being pushed back tells it it's against wood. So
It's against something.
or yeah, it's against something like somebody
It's about to nail through your finger.
trigger, you know, shoot them
It's
in the
against the jugular or the femoral artery or something.
Well, I have I love these drill dry or these
Impact.
yeah, impact.
Yes.
I had this DeWalt the longest, and I really liked the DeWalt. Loved it, but I went into Home Depot one day and I go through all their clearance aisles. Every time I go in there, I go through their clearance aisle, and stumbled across somebody had brought one of these back, the Milwaukee, and it had the the unit, 2 batteries and the charger, which normally sold for like $200 and something. I don't remember what it was, but they had marked it down to like 125, I think, or something like that. And I looked at it and I was like, wow, this thing looks brand new. Of course, all the accessories, like all the bits and stuff, whoever bought it took those all out. They weren't in there in the box and everything.
Yeah.
And so I asked the guy that was, I have a couple of people that I know that work there. We've become friends over the years. And I asked him, I said, tell me about this thing. And he goes, it's one of those typical things. They buy it, they use it to use their project. Then they bring it back and get the cash back and turn it in. It's cheaper than tool. It's better than tool rental, in other words. Yeah. And he says, I checked it out. It's fine. They obviously didn't use it that much. So I picked it up. I hands down like this Milwaukee over the DeWalt.
Really?
It feels better. It's easier to control. It's really, I can get this thing to go really, really slow where the DeWalt just seems really like you pull it and it takes off. In other words, I like that part about it. This one is the newer model. It has a setting on it for like starting sheet metal screws. It helps it start sheet metal screws, but it's got the setting of 1, 2, 3, 3 being higher torque than 1. And it's got the battery thing that tells you to see the battery on this is almost dead, which the DeWalt does not have on their batteries. It doesn't have that. It has the torque setting of 1, 2, 3. As far as power, they're pretty equal. They're pretty equal in power without too much trouble. This one has 3 lights. This one only has 1.
There are 4 lights.
Yeah, there are 4 lights. And but I really like this Milwaukee over the just like the way it feels, the way it works, and everything. And the battery lasts a hell of a lot longer than the DeWalt's. So I really like that too. The old rigid 12-volt drill. I've had this thing for like 15 years. I love this thing. Now, I went out and bought me a Ryobi, and just as an experiment, I wanted a second drill, and I really like the Ryobi. It has just about as much power as the 12. Now this is what is this? This is 18 volt. To be honest with you, this 12 volt has as much power as this Ryobi, but it has just as much power. It works great. I don't have any complaints about it, except for one thing. I don't like the chuck on it. I love the chuck on the rigid. The rigid even has, once you get it all the way tight, it has a torque. You can hear it.
Torque limiter.
Yeah. Yep. Well, no, you can torque it down onto the bit. You know what I'm saying? Listen, you can hear it. When I get to a certain point.
Yeah. Their technology on that chuck is a little better than the Ryobi.
Yeah, and the Ryobi does not have that. And with my hands, sometimes, if you use like a spade bit or something, I can't get it tight enough, and it'll actually come loose on me. And it's done that several times. Not with your normal round, regular wood drill bits, you know what I'm saying? But if you get like a spade bit or something and put it in here, the vibration will actually loosen this up. So I don't like this chuck. I love the chuck on the other one. But yeah, it's got a torque setting. I've got it on drill mode now, but it's got a torque setting just like the rigid. But I really like Ryobi tools. I'm starting to like them more and more. I bought the I have the Ryobi saw. I love this thing. Like Steve said, sometimes I'll, if I'm going to go to the grocery store or whatever, I'll take my wife's Camaro, but I go to get a board. Like if I want a 1x12, 8-foot long, well, it's hard to get a 8-foot long board in her Camaro. So I take this along and cut it, and I only use it for small scroll saw projects. So I cut it in half and bring it home. So I keep it. I take this in the Camaro every once in a while, and I've cut quite a bit with this, and I'm impressed with the power it has, and the way it works. So I'm really impressed. I didn't buy this to build a house. I bought this so that if I need it, like in the situation, if I go to do something in my truck and I need, or anywhere that you need something real quick to cut something, this is perfect. Perfect.
Or somebody gives you a 300-foot limb to stick in the Camaro.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of weird. I always thought that ratcheting sound was just my screwed up hands cracking when I, like when you twist your neck and your neck pops and stuff.
This thing is fantastic.
That's my next.
I love this. Love this.
Trim router?
Yeah, there's a little trim router, 18 volt.
Wow.
And it uses the same batteries, and yeah, just lightweight, nice. Like when I was doing the boxes that I've showed y'all, I put a little 1/16 inch bit in this and routed out for the hinges. I love the depth setting on it. You can change the depth right here on the fly. It's like really good. You just loosen this and then just turn this to change the depth. So I love that. Really great.
Russ, do you think when you purchased your rigid tools, do they jack the price up a little bit more because you're getting free batteries or lifetime batteries, or do you think
I don't think their prices are that bad.
Yeah, they're the same prices. Now, you want a Mac Daddy? I got this for Christmas. This is a 1/2 inch hammer drill. This thing has got some torque. Yeah. Yeah, that's a Mac Daddy right there. That's got some torque.
It even has a nice little hold handle there.
Yep. Hold on to it. Hold on to your butts.
Yeah,
I really like that. And I'll guarantee you, I've got something in my arsenal that none of y'all got.
Oh, geez.
Fan?
Chris loves lights and batteries, don't he?
Yeah, I keep my butt cool.
It's always about your butt.
Vibrated. Cool.
Vibrated and fanned.
Yeah.
Oh my God, there's a
So I love this. If you're doing like underneath the sink, fixing a leak or whatever.
You're doing what underneath the sink?
Taking a leak underneath the sink.
That's what I heard.
It was fixing a leak or in some confined space. There's not a lot of room. You don't want to take electricity. Now, one thing I do really like about this is it has also, you can hook it into the AC. So
that's cool.
It don't have to run
that's
off
different.
battery.
I think Al was confused because I thought you said fix and take a leak.
Yeah.
Because you're down in Florida.
I really, really like this.
You notice I dropped it, Jim.
Yeah.
Not me. That's my
really,
job.
Really, really, really good. I love Ryobi. They seem to have come up a long way in their tools, so I really like them. Rigid. If I had to buy tools with the battery replacement and the tool replacement lifetime, I would go with rigid. Other than that, you can't beat the price for the Ryobis that you catch them on sale. I mean, they're cheap. I paid like less than $50. It was like $40-something for this drill with 2 batteries and a charger. I'm like, man, that's cheap. And so it's like, that's the reason I bought it. It was just so cheap. I'm like, I got to try it. I just cannot not have it. And like Steve was saying earlier, now I have for screws and stuff, I use these impacts. But like if you're doing something, drilling the hole and setting the
countersink on it?
Yeah, countersink or whatever, it's nice to have 2 drills, countersink, and then so you don't have to change them out. So, and the same with the drill drivers. That's the reason I have 2 drills. These 2 drills right here put my roof on, the metal roof. Both of these, we use these, and they lasted through the whole metal roof. 5,000, about 5,000
2 drills. You can get away with 2 drills.
Huh?
You can get away with 2 drills. One that has a countersink drill bit,
Yeah, you can use. They do have those, but I have both.
One to screw in because
now we were talking about the batteries. The last time I replaced my rigid batteries, they usually confiscate the battery pack. This one they didn't. They left it in the drill, which was fine with me. I brought it home, and if you ever wondered what's inside or what it looks like inside one of these battery packs, well,
No, I haven't.
I'm fixing to show you because I unscrewed it for you, and that's the battery pack. That's what
there's actually refurb kits that you can purchase with the batteries and stuff, and go through them and refurbish them too.
Yep. So
There's probably only one bad battery in there.
Yeah, that's what the battery pack looks like inside the 12-volt rigid battery pack. It's a bunch of small. They're small. They're not as big as a C. They're
not as high, are they?
Yeah, they're not as high as a C battery. They're about the same diameter as a C battery, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them. So,
and if you flip it over on the other side, that's where they usually put their thermal fuse for safety.
Yeah, it's probably underneath that.
Yes, they have a thermal fuse embedded in there.
But that's what your battery pack is, just a bunch of these small little battery. And I would guarantee if I took all these apart, they're pretty well similar. The size may change as far as the size of these. The one time that I took another one apart years ago, they actually looked like AAA batteries. Like I would almost be willing to say, because of the thickness of this Ryobi, I bet you that these batteries in here are like AAA size.
Laying on their side.
Laying on their side. I would almost.
Well, that's a polymer battery, and what that is a chemical wrapped in a like an aluminum foil.
Yeah. But anyway, that's what the battery pack looks like.
Jeff Robinson is asking, what's the average number of pocket holes you can drill with a cordless drill?
Heck if I know.
When it comes to pocket holes, I like using a corded drill better because
I've never, let's put it this way, I've never had to drill that many pocket holes.
I can drill unlimited pocket holes and limited holes because I take and I use the drill with a battery until it almost goes down, because you're not supposed to on these let them go totally down. But anyway, until you just, and then go over and get the charged up one, put it in, put this one back over there, and then just keep them rotating like
as long as if you have 2 batteries, you pretty well do have an unlimited source.
The new lithium ones, they just go dead right now. I mean,
that's the biggest thing that I've noticed about the new lithium batteries compared to the old NiCads, is the NiCads would almost act like an alkaline battery. It'd start getting weaker and weaker. These new lithium batteries, they go and all of a sudden the drill will just stop. There's no warning, no nothing. It just boom, it stops.
They have smart technology in the pack to shut them off when they get to a certain voltage.
That's the chip on the battery pack, and then there's one up in the drill too.
Yep.
You know, you were talking about batteries and Harbor Freight a little while ago. I bought a pack of those Harbor Freight alkaline AA batteries. And I'll tell you, I think those things last every bit as good as Energizers and Duracell.
They do.
Yes, they do. Yeah,
and they're you can get them on sale every once in a while, and then by the time you get 20% off, it's like $3 or $4 for a big box of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
The odds are they're both made by the same company.
Probably are. Yeah.
The color is orange like that.
Yep.
Harbor Freight's got a yellow and an orange one. The orange one.
That's interesting because I've never bought those. I know years ago where I used to go to Radio Shack, and Radio Shack used to have their batteries.
Yeah, their little card that you would
and I was on their card club and used to get free batteries and everything from them all the time. And Their Radio Shack batteries lasted just as long as the other ones.
Well, I've never used the heavy duty ones, which are the yellow ones, the cheaper ones. But have you?
Yeah, I've been using them on my wireless headset. They're not as good.
The outlines are better.
But I've been using rechargeables in the headset, so that kind of, I've stopped using batteries basically.
But when I bought all the rechargeable batteries on Amazon, Amazon has their own name on them. Batteries were not as good as the other companies.
Really?
The ones that say Amazon, I bought a pack of them, and then these other companies, and the Amazons, they did not hold a charge as well.
That's probably because they're coming from China.
Yeah, well, they're from
now they're 25% more.
Yeah. Anything you buy like that it's going to be. It's kind of, if you think about this, it goes back to the old phrase, you get what you pay for. I understand you're buying the cheaper stuff, but in some aspects and sometimes it's better to buy the more expensive stuff.
Yes, exactly.
For instance, you really going to try to compare a Mercedes-Benz with a Volkswagen Beetle? I mean, come on, give me a break. So it's just kind of obvious. Now, in some instances, I'm a Harbor Freight fan. I love Harbor Freight tools. If I owned a business, which I did own a construction company, I didn't have any Harbor Freight tools on the job. We ran DeWalt's or Milwaukee's and stuff like that.
But I don't think Harbor Freight tools are made for that.
Exactly. It's if you're a hobbyist and if you have a home wood shop or whatever, and you're just doing stuff on the side, there is nothing in the world wrong with using Harbor Freight tools to get your business going. Now, once you start getting bigger and once you start making stuff, and then it becomes like, for instance, Rockin' H Wood Shop, which is Drew
Pierce.
Drew Short. Now he's doing it full time. Now he uses a lot of Ryobi tools, but I think Ryobi is his sponsor. But once you start doing it where you're going to do it, then I would say, yeah, you're probably better off stepping up to.
So when you say Harbor Freight tools, you're actually talking about 8 or 12 different manufacturers.
Exactly. Right. And some of those Harbor Freight tools are the same manufacturers that you're buying. For instance, my old jet bandsaw that I bought years ago, they don't sell that brand anymore. The reason being is they discontinued them because they were so damn good. That saw is the same identical saw to the old Powermatic and the old Jet. Right. I ordered Jet parts for that saw, and the riser block on that sucker comes from a Jet.
Look at my screen, Russ. This
there you go.
Yeah, it shows you, like, this is Harbor Freight. These are all the manufacturers.
Yep.
So you might get one of these that's crap and the other one's great.
Yep.
So you don't know for sure.
I've got their big lathe, and I see other guys with different manufactured lathes and stuff. I mean, it looks exactly like it, except maybe there's a speed monitor on it or something.
The Harbor Freight lathe is the exact same lathe as the cheap Grizzly.
Yeah, and there's a lot of good reviews on that lathe too.
Yes,
I like it.
Yeah, there's a lot of good reviews. The problem that they've had with that is most of the ones that I have read is there's plates in there, and the two plates sandwich the belt, and you turn that dial. It depends on how that belt rides up and down in the plates as to what the speed is. Is those plates will get hot and shatter, and it's hard to find those plates for replacement. But like I said, that is the same exact as the cheap Grizzly. I love my Harbor Freight bandsaw. I use it all the time. And once I figured out, number one, I got rid of the old cool blocks and put the
Carters.
Yeah, the Carter roller guides on it. And then once I found out about the blades and started ordering the right blades for it, it cuts. And then I watched Alex Snodgrass on how to set up a bandsaw correctly and started putting the bandsaw blade on there correctly, and boom, it works great.
One thing brought up about all these battery packs is higher voltage is better, but you still have to look on batteries at the milliamp hours.
There you go.
That's a big deal. You got 600 milliamps, and this is a 1300 milliamp. This will outdo the 600, 2 to 1.
Yeah,
this one's 2100, And this is a Sanyo battery. This one's only 1900.
Yes, that's a big difference right
A
there.
milliamp
Milliamp.
drain on these things
Yes.
is what keeps them going for a while. And this is, I think I bought this, I think at Walmart, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
So these
radio back hybrid. I saw those a while back.
Yeah.
Them really work well. I have a bunch of those, and the Energizer ones here were a lot better than the Amazon ones.
Yeah. Okay, so I hope we touch base on some stuff. I'm now a fan of Ryobi, man. Let me tell you, especially with that airstrike. I
How
think
much was the airstrike, Russ? Do you remember?
do what?
How much was that airstrike?
I don't remember off the top. Do you remember, Chris?
I'll look.
No,
Yeah, look it
definitely
up.
under $100. I know that.
Under
No,
100 bucks?
really?
I was gonna say it's
Yeah.
got to be at least 100. Otherwise, that's a good deal.
Yeah,
Well,
I
I
was
only-
going to get the equivalent part to the rigid line, so I could use my 18-volt batteries. I think it was over $200 for that thing.
With the battery and the charger, it says it's $184. That's cheap.
Okay.
Yeah, compared to if I was to buy a good like a porta cable, look at why you got it there, Steve. Look up like a pneumatic porta cable pin nailer, which is
Yeah,
a brand.
I know what they are. They're like $225.
Yeah, see. So, and with the battery, and I want to tell you, I was, like I said, if Chris had his for a while and I asked him about it, when I shot that 2-inch nail into that hard oak, and I know it's a brad nail, but still, when it went in and countersunk it on top of that, I was like, all right, now you made me a believer. I didn't think it would do it.
I only use brad nails, so I don't need a nail gun. I just need a brad nailer.
Yes.
Yeah. I've got a pneumatic one, but it's a pain in the butt.
I mean, I've got the big guns. I've got two big nailers. Framing nailers. Yeah. One's a rigid and one's a porta cable. So,
hey Russ, Robbie Sidney's asking quiet strike or airstrike?
Airstrike.
Airstrike.
Okay.
Ryobi's got it on sale, a good deal right now on Prime, Amazon for $189. 2 batteries, charger, and that airstrike.
Yeah,
that could have been it.
And by the way, Patrick's Workshop is asking, Russ, are you wearing beard extensions?
Nope.
Patrick, jeez.
Hello, Patrick.
Hey, dang, Patrick thought of it first.
It's eau de naturel. Eau de naturel. Yeah. I've got some here. Hold on.
And Robbie is saying $89 for the refurb airstrike on eBay.
That's without the battery.
Yeah, they got them brand new with one charger for $186, or you can get just the airstrike for $121.
Yeah.
But if you get the whole kit,
it's $184.99.
yeah, it's usually $229, and now Amazon's got them for $189 for the whole kit. 2 batteries, charger, and the nailer.
I got a hose on mine, and I can't say I use it very much. And the hose now and then gets in the way, but it was I don't even remember what it was.
Yeah, this is a framing nailer.
Yeah.
Pneumatic.
Yeah.
This will
I got a
shoot.
porta cable like that.
Yeah, this will shoot up to 3-inch.
It's good to have, though.
Framing nails. Yeah, well, I was in construction. Remember, I used to build houses.
Oh, yeah.
So I bought this one. My porta cable, we were starting the roof, and we were shooting down the 1x4s on the roof, and the porta cable started having problems. And I know what it is, the O-rings. I've had to rebuild it before. The biggest problem with your pneumatic stuff is water, moisture. It deteriorates the O-rings in the head up in here, and it'll start passing air, and it won't fire.
Do they have a
When you
place?
start and all when you quit.
Do they have a spot in there for the, or do you just put it on the end, a couple drops of oil right on the end there?
Well,
or do
I
they-
have automatic oilers.
Oh,
I have
there you go.
automatic oilers on my compressor that automatically puts
Yep.
oil into the line. But even though over a period of time you're going to wear the O-rings out.
Sure.
But anyway, so when the porta cable went down, I needed an air nailer right then and there because we were putting the roof on. So I just ran down to Home Depot and bought this one. This was the best price with all the features, and I really like it. It's really now I've got my porta cable fixed. So I have 3 of them. I have an older one too, but this one's a roof nailer, coil roof nails. I have all kind of pneumatic tools. This shoots the nails for shingles.
Are you a nailer or a stapler? What do you like the best?
Nails. Never
Yeah.
use staples.
I like them better for roofing. Yep.
Yeah.
Never use staples. For
Yeah,
shit.
this, like I said, this is a pneumatic. I'm trying to figure out.
It's like a Tommy machine gun. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It is.
Hey, Al.
Yeah.
Drag
That's
out
how
your sonic trowel.
Drag up
in there. So.
Yeah, yeah. Where's
But
Show
anyway,
them what a real tool looks like.
I'll cut heads off with this if you guys aren't. Yeah.
What is that?
This
a
is
sonic
trowel. This is
Okay.
a sonic trowel.
A sonic trowel.
Yeah. It was a design that I saw on Doctor Who. There's like a 30-second clip of it, and I went out and designed it in Fusion and printed it out. And I still need to do some more work on it, but yeah, it's cordless.
You'll
see him on QVC next month.
Here's a real tool that everybody needs when you get bothered in the shop and you don't want to get bothered. Right here.
There you go. I've got my attack octopi.
Yeah, we got the octopi army.
Yep.
I was going to convert this to get rid of the little foam balls and figure out if I could put some spikes in it.
I wanted to say it's for some reason my computer over here decided to reboot, so I'm waiting for it to come back up to get back over and see the chat, so I can say goodnight to all the people who are in the chat.
Hey, Jeff Robinson was saying the airstrike is 68. Do you want me to go ahead and I do have, Chris, I do have a sonic screwdriver. Do you want me to go ahead and mention him?
Do what now?
Do you want me to mention who's out there right now?
I'm fixing to pull it up.
Okay, with all talking about the rigid and Rivy and Delore, if you had to choose one brand in order to stay with so you only had to worry about one brand of battery and not which brand would it be?
Rigid.
Rigid.
Because it's a lifetime warranty. Once you register the tool and the battery with them, you got a lifetime warranty.
Chris,
that's the only reason I would do it. As far as the tools, they're good tools, but I like Milwaukee a little bit better than the rigid. But Milwaukee don't have the lifetime warranty.
Yeah,
it costs twice as much to begin with.
Yeah,
right. The Milwaukee has, I think most torque, but they're expensive. They have an 18-volt drill on a Milwaukee, and they have a side handle that you put on it. And I've actually seen somebody twist their arm on a Milwaukee, on a battery-operated Milwaukee.
Okay, I'm back.
Chris, there's the sonic screwdriver. It's just not put together yet.
Ah, gotcha.
All right.
Do it yourself.
We've got Aussie Man still out there. Roby Sydney. I guess that's how you say it. Chris Nealon's out there. Dan Inge from Dan Inge Woodworker's still out there. Jeff Robinson, Luana Pierce. Matt Haas is out there in the chat. He was talking about batteries. Okay, Aussie Man, I think I've already said him. Patrick's Workshop. He said about my beard extensions. You can't tell that that's like Eau de Naturel, dude. Robert Crow is still out there. Thank you, Robert, for being out there tonight. I appreciate all of y'all for being out there in the chat. Just going back over to see
Rob E. Sidney, by the way.
Rob E. Sidney.
Yeah.
Rob E. Sidney.
There you go.
Hey, I had it almost perfectly correct.
It's an honor. It's an honor to have the name missaid. It's an honor.
Patrick Workshop said it's just longer than I recall because it grows. I mean, what do you think?
Has it ever been longer than it is now?
Yeah, I had 3 inches taken off after Christmas.
Oh.
Yeah. So it was about 3 inches longer.
Did you overspend on presents or something?
Yeah. But yeah, I usually start off about September, October, November, December, around September, and quit trimming it and just let it grow. Get the last little bit of length for it. And then after Christmas, and I usually have about 3 inches taken off of it. And then I start having it. I go about every 4 to 5. Well, sometimes it's longer than that, but I usually try to go about every 5 weeks and get my hair cut and then let them trim it.
Russ, Robbie wants you to pronounce his last name. It's out in the chat.
Sydney?
No.
Oddly enough, it's not.
But he put it there. He says, my last.
Akerly McKee?
Sounds good to me.
What it looks like to me, Akerly McKee.
I think you nailed it.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Ackerly McKee.
Ackerly? Okay, well, I said Aker.
Right, but
Ackerly McKee.
Is that an Irish name?
Is it Fort? Is it Forte? Is it Forte?
Okay. Okay, yeah, with the ER, it'd be Ackerly. Yeah, Ackerly McKee for the Akerly.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't do too bad sometimes. So anyway, sometimes.
He says yes.
Good. I don't do too bad sometimes, but I want to tell you, on my bad days, I can butcher them better than anybody. I know that for a fact.
To the delight of most of your viewing audience.
Oh, I know. They like making fun of it. Especially when I call it rocklear. When I say rocklear instead of rockler. Man, I got so much of a hassle about that to begin with. And you know, when I went to started teaching classes, I asked those guys, I said, how many people really call it rocklear? And he goes, you'd be surprised. He goes, a lot of people do. So anyway, but I hope we were able to inform y'all about some of the new things and new tools and get y'all into, if y'all need a new tool or thinking about buying one. You know, I haven't tried any of the Harbor Freight battery cordless tools. I've shied away from them. I have thought a couple of times about buying a one or two of them and bringing them just to do a test run and see what they do for a while, just so I could report out. But as of yet, I haven't done that. But I've always kind of shied away from their battery because for a long time, I did hear a lot of people complain. And I've been in the store when people brought some of that stuff back and were complaining about it. So I don't know if they've upgraded their battery or cordless tools. Are there any better than what they used to be? But I know that they used to be crap for a long time. So that's the reason
I've only had one item I had to return, and that was the drum sander because the foot was missing.
Yeah.
And they gave me a brand new one off the shelf, no problems.
Yeah.
So.
I was kind of looking at their chainsaw and it's got one of those, what is it, Oregon, Katie? Blades on it.
Yeah, Oregon blade.
But I wanted to look at that because I drive around a lot for work all over the place. And I see logs and all kinds of stuff off to the side of the road. And I could carry that in the car and not have the car smell like gas and pick up some bulb blanks. You know?
Just get a cordless one.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They've got like an 80-volt chainsaw, you know?
Yeah.
So I might pull the plug on that.
All right, but back to what I was saying. I hope that maybe we're able to answer some questions or give you an idea if you decided that you needed to buy a cordless tool. So I know we had a pretty good gamut of everybody had a good amount of different brands to talk about. So if I, as like Katie asked earlier, if I had to choose of all the ones that I would buy, it would definitely be hands down the Rigid, and the reason they're tools because of the fact they get the lifetime warranty with the lifetime batteries. But now you have to keep them registered. As soon as you get home, you have to register them. And when they give you new batteries, you have to come home and re-register those batteries because those batteries have serial numbers. Because if you don't, then they're not going to give them to you. So
no, I have never had to get a new battery or have a tool repaired or anything. But I did have one person
Most
at
definitely.
Home Depot tell me one time that they have the option of either giving you a new one or sending the old one in to get it repaired.
Yes. Yes, they do.
Okay.
Yep. They have that option.
So it kind of depends on who you have at the store at the time you need the help.
I don't think it depends on that. I think it depends on the tool. Like if you have I would say if you had a fairly new drill, like for instance, they don't even make these anymore. So if I was to take this in there, they're not going to be able to give me another one unless they have a refurbished one because of the fact they don't make these anymore. So if you have something like that, then yeah, they're going to have to give you a new one. But if you were to take in, for instance, I just got this one at Christmas. So if I had a problem with this one and took it in, they would probably send this one in for repair because it's so new. I think that's what kind of determines that.
Mm.
Is how old the tool, you know, how long has it been around?
Yeah.
So, but anyway, like I said, I hope we were able to help somebody and answer some questions out there. That's about all I have. There's only one thing that we have left to do before we get out. And thank y'all all for being out there in the chat. I appreciate y'all out there so very, and holy crap, we got 32 thumbs up. So I appreciate that.
Hey.
I really do. I thank you a lot. There's only one thing we need to do, and that is just give me sawdust, lots of sawdust all around me and everywhere. I like it flying all around my shop and even in my beard and hair. Good night, everybody. Thank you for watching, and God bless.
Good night,
Good night,
everybody.
everybody.
Remember, you don't have to go home, but you cannot stay here. So finish your drinks and head for the door.
What